The evil reptilian lords of the crystal who dwelled in the gloomy, dank walls of the crystal castle received their notoriety for good reason. They were cruel, vicious, psychotic animals who sowed their monstrous intentions throughout the lands of Thra. But not all were keen warriors or dark kings. A few took on a different shape and form, with a more putrid existence and a depressing lifestyle. And in reality, there were none quite as vile as skekLach the Collector. Before we go any further, one subject that must be addressed is the correct gender identification of this character. First, it is important to remember that the Skeksis do not have literal genders, they just choose to be called by their preferred pronouns. Now, in the comic books and the manga, which were released long before the show, skekLach was actually quite a brutish male character and was also a masterful war planner, working closely with Skek-Ung the Gartham Master. He even eventually won the direct favor of Skekso, demanding even the mighty Skekvar pledge allegiance to him in a brilliantly constructed political move. However, upon the release of Age of Resistance, this character was heavily altered to fit a new role, and now takes on feminine pronouns according to J.M. Lee's book Heroes of the Resistance. As for her role, the Collector has a strange yet fitting personality. The only events she seemed to be involved with were the Gelfling tithing ceremonies, in which she and skekLach would regularly make trips once every trine, to receive gifts from various families, which was, of course, a tribute to the Alliance of the Crystal. A very appropriate position for a Collector to have, as she not only acquired an array of items through the ceremonies themselves, but would often wander around stealing from the other Skeksis, adding to her hoard of trinkets and charms. skekLach was most easily recognizable due to her own unique, grotesque facial features, as well as poor hygiene. The pustules, like giant pimples covering her snout, constantly oozed and boiled, discharging mucus and bodily fluids, even onto her own food. Despite her daily treatment, using various potions and elixirs kept around her neck, they resisted all medicine and only worsened with time. She was also obviously a very poor practitioner of hygiene, rarely or never washing herself or her robes, which became oily and putrid over time, matching her nasty aura. By the late Age of Division, her role as the Collector had bored her to the point of insanity, and thoughts of her once beautiful and tortured youth riddled her mind in the aging years. She became complacent and disinterested with everything in her life, even the ceremonies she loved so much to steal from. In the end, she was by far the most sad, melancholy, and depressed Skeksis of them all, a very odd state of existence compared to the other active and aggressive lords. In fact, the only time she would become excited was during torture sessions or getting a chance to belittle and frighten Gelfling, a truly pathetic lifestyle, and perhaps, deep down, she knew that. Even though a character like this should presumably be short on friends and political alliances, she did form a natural bond between two of the other craziest Skeksis in the Crystal Castle, skekLach and skekEcht. Though they would often fight like an old married couple, skekLach and skekLach seemed to be close companions who shared many beliefs, and when skekLach was not with the Collector, he and skekEcht would share gossip and recent developments. And after mourning skekLach's death, they joined forces with Skeksil the Chamberlain on his journey to the throne. Isn't it interesting how the craziest ones always find each other and then make plans to rule? The Collector's counterpart was Sen the Monk. Not much is known about this character in Age of Resistance, but in the earlier comic series, she played a vital role in secretly guiding the actions of two Gelfling named Lar and Nephi, who were the two remaining survivors of a Gartham raid, eventually assisting them in rescuing prisoners held captive in the Crystal Castle. Unfortunately, we may not know much more about her due to the fact she perished off-screen when skekLach was killed, but we do know that the light comes from Sen's ability to ensure and practice the art of peace through her planned actions, while the dark comes from skekLach's painful depression and her desire to place that on others. skekLach finally met her bitter end at the second Battle of Stone in the Wood, when Deet, who had been infected by the Darkening, unleashed a devastating attack, sending the powerful spell back in the Collector's direction. This surge of energy caused her head to explode, and the Collector was no more. While most rightfully rejoiced over her death, I think some form of sympathy is present in her awful existence. skekLach was evil because of her youth, a youth in which she truly believed she was beautiful, and no doubt useful and filled with purpose. Over the many trine, everything about her began to deteriorate, until she was nothing more than a disgusting shell, a horrid pool of infinite sadness, with no lingering purpose except to hurt the lesser beings of Thra. Ask not why the Collector was so vile, but what made her this way, and what birthed her insanity.